She walked into the bank with confidence, sharp suit, calm smile, and the quiet power of someone who had built her own empire. But what happened next was unthinkable. Instead of respect, she was met with suspicion, whispers, and a chilling refusal that cut deeper than words. Why? Because of the color of her skin. In just minutes, this ordinary visit would ignite a chain of events no one in that branch would ever forget. And when the truth came out, everything changed. She wasn't just another customer walking into the bank that morning. She was a CEO, a woman who had climbed her way up through long nights, relentless effort, and unshakable belief in herself. To her employees and peers, she was living proof that success could be built from nothing. On that day, she carried herself the same way she always did, professional, calm, and ready to handle business. The bank was supposed to be routine, sign a few papers, move on with her day. But as she walked through those glass doors, she had no idea that her presence alone was about to trigger something ugly, something that would turn an ordinary errand into a fight for dignity. The moment she handed over her ID, the air shifted. The teller's polite smile faded into a frown, eyes narrowing as if something didn't add up. A hushed whisper passed to the coworker beside him, and suddenly it felt like the entire branch was staring. She had been through this before, those quiet moments when skin color spoke louder than success. Still, she stayed calm, waiting through routine service. But instead of paperwork sliding across the counter, she was met with hesitation. Then the words no one expects to hear in a professional setting. "I'm sorry, but we can't process this transaction." Confusion gave way to disbelief. She asked why. No clear answer, just vague excuses about policy and verification. Minutes stretched, and the crowd in line began to notice. Some shifted uncomfortably, others watched with quiet curiosity. Her patience thinned as the whispers grew louder. What should have been a simple banking errand was unraveling into a scene of public humiliation. When she requested to see a manager, things only worsened. The manager didn't approach with professionalism, but with suspicion, scanning her like she didn't belong. His voice was clipped, dismissive, carrying an edge that felt less about procedure and more about prejudice. She felt the sting of every eye in the room, silently questioning her presence. Her heartbeat quickened, not out of fear, but out of fury. This wasn't just about being denied service, it was about being denied dignity. And as the minutes ticked on, one thought burned in her mind. They have no idea who they're dealing with. The tension snapped the moment the manager raised his voice loud enough for everyone in the lobby to hear. "We can't serve you here, please leave." Gasps rippled through the line. She stood frozen not because she was powerless, but because of the sheer audacity. She had been disrespected before, but never so publicly, never so boldly. Her chest tightened, a wave of heat rushing through her veins. Every second felt like the weight of history pressing down. The looks, the whispers, the silent agreement of those too afraid to speak up. The humiliation was complete. Here she was, a black woman who had built companies, employed hundreds, and earned her place at the table, reduced to a spectacle inside a neighborhood bank. Eyes locked on her, some with pity, some with quiet agreement, and some with the cold indifference of people who had seen this story too many times. For a moment, she wanted to walk away, to let the shame sink in, but then another thought cut through the noise. Not this time. Her voice, steady but razor-sharp, broke the silence. "Do you know who I am?" The branch grew still. Phones tilted up, recording. Employees exchanged nervous glances. They had no idea the very person they had humiliated held the power to decide their future. And as she reached into her bag, not for her ID, but for something far more devastating, the entire room braced for what was coming next. The silence in the bank didn't last long. Within hours, the truth spread. Who she was, what she had built, and how she had been treated. The very branch that denied her respect was now facing the weight of her authority. Staff who once looked down on her found themselves out of jobs, their casual prejudice costing them everything. For her, it wasn't about revenge. It was about accountability. Yet even as she walked away with her head high, the sting of the moment lingered. Because this story wasn't just about one woman and one bank. It's about a system where skin color can still overshadow achievement, where dignity can be stripped away in seconds, no matter how high someone climbs. And that is the deeper wound. The reminder that success doesn't shield anyone from racism's reach. Her victory was personal, but the fight is far from over. So ask yourself, if this can happen to a CEO, what happens to those without power, without influence, without a voice? How many more stories like this remain unseen, unheard, unforgotten? This isn't just her story, it's ours. And the question that lingers is simple. When will enough finally be enough?